Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another live stream, and welcome to that time again. Emergency meetings are back. Chelsea have lost again in the Premier League. Third defeat of the season in the league, and an absolutely abysmal performance in so many aspects. Quite frankly, embarrassing. But guys, make sure you smash up the likes, subscribe if you're new around here. Big up to everybody that is already locked in. Do all that stuff. Get involved in the chat. We're going to have a discussion about what's going on and why we continue as a football club to not be able to win games like this and to not be able to get any sort of consistency going. Always one step forwards, two steps back. You think we're building some momentum, 4 wins in a row. We've got Sunderland at home. We should make that 5 in a row and start getting the ball rolling. But no, we always have to turn up and put in a performance like that. I don't know where to begin with this. Let's start by saying hello to a few of you, and then we're going to get into it. Centre backs so average, not good enough. Agreed. These players deserve time to prove themselves after the Club World Cup. Brother, these players aren't proving themselves. We've known for since it's bordering 8-9 years now, we've been a cup team. We know we're not a league. We're not good enough to compete in the league. We know that. The evidence has been there for 8 years now. Multiple different managers, multiple different players. We don't have the consistency to be serious in the league. It's as simple as that. People who hyped Gittin's performance against a past it 10-man Ajax, big up. Right back doesn't, but centre back, yeah, the centre back thing. We know the centre back's terrible. Didn't expect my prediction to be the opposite. Agreed. Yeah, also agreed. This is truly embarrassing. That is correct. It is. Look, he's part of the problem, but he's not the whole problem. He's not the whole problem. Yes, big up, bro. That was a shit show. It was. Let's start with it then. Let's get into this chat. Look, we lose football matches. Every team loses football matches. It's part of it, and it's the way it goes. Now, I haven't got a problem when we lose because that's going to happen. However, the problem arises when we lose in a certain manner. If you lose and you've been, played off the park and the opposition have just like outclassed you and whatnot, or they've produced a moment of individual brilliance, that's the difference, then fair enough. However, the frustration comes in and the disappointment and the reaction that people have been having comes in when we are continuing to lose the same type of matches that we have been losing for years and years and years. We're conceding the same goal over and over again this season. That goal, long throw to begin with, we're conceding that multiple times. And then a big hoof upfield, conceding goals like that multiple times. We conceded a goal like that 3 times already this season. And it's not improving from both Maresca and the players. If you're not learning from your defeats and you're continuing to make the same mistakes over and over again, then that is a major problem. We've been losing games like this for years and years and years. We're completely out of ideas of how to break teams down who come and sit deep, or teams that come and play a back 5. And Sunderland, fair play to them. They just soaked up the pressure and they punished us from 2 things that are our Achilles heel: defending balls into the box, i.e., long throw-ins, and dealing. And just defensively in general, that second goal that we conceded is absolutely pathetic. It's always about how you lose. It's always about how you lose. But again, a big concern for me was, it's not just the fact that we lost that game in the way that we lost it and the fact we've been losing those games so often over the years. It's also the fact that, once again, we are unable to kill teams off. We cannot kill teams off when we're in the ascendancy. You get the goal from Garnacho yesterday, which, was a decent goal in fairness to him. And, we're 1 up in the first 5 minutes. And you're sort of thinking, yeah, we've got an opportunity here to get 2-3 goals and put this game to bed. Instead, from that moment onwards that we took the lead, we were awful. We were absolutely awful. And we literally played into Sunderland's hands. We didn't create any chances. We were slow. We were lethargic. We lacked energy. The passing was terrible. We were just moving it side to side. One thing you have to do when you're playing against the back five is move the ball quickly. Don't allow them to get back into shape. You've got to work on dragging players out of position, creating space. We didn't do any of that. We didn't do any of that. It's like we were playing walking football. It was like we were playing walking football. And this is the problem, is that we lack consistency, major consistency. And the reason that we're lacking a consistency is because of the way that the squad's been put together. Because we know that we're more than capable of beating your Liverpools, of beating your Arsenals, of beating Man Cities and big teams. We know we can do that. But these are the types of games which highlight why we are not serious, and we won't be serious in the league, because we haven't got the consistency and we cannot win games of football like this. If you want to be taken seriously as a title contender, if you want to prove that you can compete and you can close the gap, then you cannot be losing games or dropping points in games like that. You know, last season, the same. We lost to Ipswich away and we drew against them. We didn't beat Ipswich once last season. Under Pochettino, we were drawing at home to Burnley. We were drawing away at Sheffield United. This is not a new thing. And I have people in the chat. That say to me, oh, this team is good enough to win. This team is actually much better than what you're making it out to be. Or why do you always predict such narrow wins for us? That's why. Because I know what this team is. I know what we are. And we're a side that has no consistency. A side who Sunderland have shown the blueprint how to beat us. You sit deep, you play five at the back, you absorb the pressure, and then you hit us on the counter. And it's so frustrating because it felt like we were starting to turn a corner. We'd got 4 wins on the spin, and then you head into this run of fixtures we've got now, and you're thinking, this is a decent run of fixtures. But it's 1 step forward, 2 steps back with this team. And it's putting huge pressure now on the week coming up, because you've got Wolves in the Carabao and then a huge win. A huge win required against Tottenham. And it's not looking particularly good. We are shocking defensively. There's no escaping it. But we're also awful going forward as well. Joao Pedro, he's been shocking for weeks. Mark Guiu, not it. Pedro Neto and Garnacho are the same player. One just spams crosses in the air, and the other spams crosses in along the floor. Both of them, they're essentially the same player that just play on different sides. That's it. That is literally it. Players not producing enough end product. Players not making good enough decisions. I get it. Maresca wasn't backed with a centre-back in the window. I get it. And that was really poor. However, he's not helping himself, because all of our bozo moments, all of our shocking moments this season have all coincided with Chalobah and Tosin being on the pitch. He can help himself by not picking those players who right now are not up to the level required and are not performing to the standard that is expected. He can help himself by doing that. Why he took Josh Achimpong off yesterday is beyond me. Why did no one ask whether Achimpong had an injury or what the reason was for putting Tosin on? And even then, right, why did you go for Tosin and not go for Fofana instead, who is a miles better centre-back than Tosin? I really don't get that. And then it's compounded by the Chuckle brothers at the back. Look at this defending for the goal. I mean, you can't even call it defending. Please tell me how there is not a single Sunderland player in frame, and yet we have got 2v1, but Tosin just stands there, doesn't get tight to him, lets him basically pass to whoever he wants to pass to, and there's no other danger, and Chalobah just stands there and watches instead of running up there and trying to close him down and trying to dispossess him himself. The fact that we've conceded a goal from that situation is humiliating. It is absolutely humiliating, and it is embarrassing. It is absolutely embarrassing. And Tosin, I've said it time and time again, he's fine as a squad player. But any situation that requires Tosin to be playing on a regular basis, no. Absolutely not. No fucking way can we do that. No chance can Tosin be playing regularly for Chelsea. You know, Chalobah and Tosin are not good enough. They're not good enough. And again, that was shocking game management from Maresca. How many more mistakes do we need to see from the experienced defenders? Right now, a 19-year-old is our best defender. And the players who are making all the mistakes are the players who are the so-called experienced players. Tosin is shocking 1v1 defending. We've seen it on 2 occasions this season already. Shocking for the Brentford goal and shocking for that Fulham goal, which was disallowed. He's our biggest centre-back, yet he's awful in the air. And Chalobah, I don't know what's happened to Chalobah. What's happened to Chalobah's level? I don't know where it's gone. You know, when Tosin was injured and Chalobah was suspended, we played, the performances were a lot more composed. You know, yes, there are constraints on Maresca right now in terms of the options that he's got available to him, but he needs to control the controllables. And right now, he needs to take Tosin and Chalobah out of the team. Needs to take them out of the team. Bro, Tosin, of course Tosin's at fault there. Of course he is. How can anyone argue that Tosin is not at fault there? How can we argue that? It's impossible. Look at him. Look what he's doing. He's getting shrugged off there. You're a big guy. You're imposing. Get tight to him, rough him up, and try and win the ball. It's absolutely on Tosin, and it's also on Chalobah. Tosin has shown that he is a fucking shit 1v1 defender. That is what he is. Chalobah not being good enough, not at the level required. Why is Fofana not playing games? Are we still babysitting him? Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? It's a combination of both. We can say it's Chalobah's fault, and absolutely Chalobah needs to take responsibility for that. 100% he does, because you cannot just stand there and stare at someone struggling and just allow the guy to have a free shot. A free pass to play it to whoever he wants to play it to. I fully appreciate that. However, Tosin can't be absorbed of blame. He needs to get tighter to him. Between the two of them, it's awful. Between the two of them, it's awful and it's inexcusable. It really is. Yes, big up, Jimmy. Hope you're well, brother. No, I hear you, bro. Tosin didn't get beaten, but he also didn't do enough to try and hold up. I don't even know who that is. I can't remember the guy's name. But he also didn't do enough to hold him up or to try and, get the ball off him. But yeah, Chalobah just staring there, watching that situation unfold is really, really poor. But this situation, in my opinion, doesn't happen if he was taken off. Sorry, if Josh was left on the pitch. Because Achimpong, all right, he was poor by playing everyone on side for the equalising goal from the long throw-in. That wasn't good. But he played well. He played well. He made a brilliant last-ditch block to deny Granit Xhaka. And I'm pretty sure he's not defending like Tosin or Chalobah did in that situation. And so whilst we have got those two players in the squad, we cannot continue to keep playing these guys. How much more evidence do we need of Tosin and Chalobah not being good enough and not being at the level required until he stops playing them? The partnership going forward should be Achimpong and Wesley Fofana. We do not need to see Tosin and Chalobah on the pitch anymore. Certainly not together. Certainly not together. And Achimpong was actually fucking good, by the way, in that game. I thought he was decent. Bro, do you know what's mad? No one asked. And this is the problem, right? That was a key moment in the game, and yet you got a whole press conference and not one journalist is asking the question that needs to be asked. Why did you make that substitution? Was there an injury? Was there a knock? Why did you go for Tosin instead of Fofana? This is the point. Why was it Achimpong that was off, and why was it not Chalobah, for example? And yet nobody's asking that. And now we're not going to get an answer to it because the moment's gone now. You've got Wolves on Wednesday. Maybe someone might ask it on the press conference on Tuesday before the Wolves game, but it's a bit late by then. We need to know this information now because these are important decisions that have been made in game that have majorly let us down. And again, unfortunately, this goes back to recruitment. And why we didn't sign another centre-back is beyond me. Because if we'd signed a quality centre-back in the summer, then we don't concede half the goals that we've conceded so far this season if we'd signed a top quality centre-back. And people will say, oh, we had the UEFA restrictions. Yes, we did have the UEFA restrictions, but we still could have bought someone. Instead of signing 5 attackers, maybe sign a couple less attackers and get yourself a top quality centre-back who's going to make a much bigger difference to this. Why did we not do that? Why did we not do that? I mean, just looking at that, the Sunderland goal scorer is not even in the frame. He's not even in the frame. How are we conceding like that? How? Bro, no one's asking us to win the league. Nobody is asking us to win the league. Nobody. Nobody's asking us to win the league. Nobody expects us to win the league. And the exact reason we're not winning the league is for games like yesterday, games like Brentford, games like Brighton. Because when it comes down to it, we can't win the games that matter. And we can't win the games that will make you a title contender. Games against the teams that you should be beating, it's not good enough. And I mean, I'm getting this off the screen because it's making me angry seeing that. It's making me fucking angry. It can be, and then Reska's saying this. It can be an easy situation because we are 2 versus 1. The striker has his back to goal. It can be an easy situation to defend. We have to do better. Yeah, we do have to do better. But why are the same mistakes keep being made? Why? Why? Brother, he didn't bring Tosin on to score goals. There's no way that he brought Tosin on to score goals. If he did, he would have chucked him on up front. He wouldn't have brought him on at centre-back. So that's just nonsense. Bro, it's very difficult to disagree with that. Very difficult to disagree with that. It really is. Yep. Oh, and that's been the case for time. That's been the case for time. But people don't want to have that conversation. People do not want to have that conversation. People don't want to have the conversation. By the way, guys, a conversation that we need to be having right now is why there's over 100 people in the building and there's 35 likes. People, smash that like button right now. Run these likes up. It really helps me out. This should be up at 100 likes. We're not even on 50. So smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new around here as well. But get these likes up. Come on, chat. We're better than this. So help me out, please. He brought him on for passes through the middle. Should have taken Trev off. Passes through the middle, but he brought him on for like 10, 15 minutes. So what are we doing here? What are we doing here? This is what I don't understand. Why are changes like that being made? Why? Yeah, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. No, he doesn't need to be sacked. And again, this is another issue that we've got. The manager does not need to be sacked. The players need to do better. He obviously needs to do better in certain instances. And the substitution yesterday and the substitutions in general yesterday were poor. They were poor. But we need to come up with a better game plan against teams that are going to come and do this to us. Because now Sunderland are just giving everyone the game plan to beat us, the blueprint to beat us. The blueprint to beat us is there for everyone to see. For everyone to see. And it's a problem. It's a massive problem. Do you know what else is a problem? Teams aren't scared of playing Chelsea. Teams are not scared of playing Chelsea. There's no fear. They come to Stamford Bridge. They'll play their football. The fear factor has totally disappeared. You've got Sunderland players yesterday coming out and saying, we knew with Chelsea we'd have opportunities to score. Teams don't fear us, home or away. And until that changes, then we've got major problems. The fear factor has disappeared. No teams are scared of playing us. No teams are scared of playing us. Bro, he won't get sacked. He won't get sacked. Things would have to get much worse for the manager to get sacked. But what I don't understand is why we were moving the ball so slowly yesterday. So slowly. Sideways passing. So much possession just in a pointless area of the pitch. So much possession in a pointless area of the pitch. I just don't get it, chap. I really don't understand where we are going with this right now. Where was the mentality? The mentality in the fucking bin. That's where it is. That's where the mentality is. Bro, we've been a cup team for years. We've been a cup team for years. And this is what people don't realise, is that Chelsea are a cup team. We need to think different. But do you know why else we are in the predicament that we're in? Because of the way that we recruit. How have we spent all this money and signed all these players, and yet we're fielding a front line of Mark Guiu, Garnacho, and Pedro Neto? That's inexcusable. That is inexcusable. Where are the game changers? Where are the match winners? We're already in a situation now where outside of Reece James, Cucurella and Caicedo, we are heavily reliant on two teenagers to make shit happen in Josh Achimpong and Esteval. Esteval comes on yesterday. We don't even get him. We don't even get him into the game. We barely get the ball to him. We don't do anything. We don't do anything. Bro, the subs were poor. Tosin for Achimpong was a disgraceful substitution when Achimpong was playing well, and you see what happened for the winning goal. That was poor. Andre Santos coming on made no sense. Why were Joao Pedro and Mark Guiu on the pitch for so long when they were shocking? Makes no sense. The substitutions were too late, and they were poor. They were poor. None of the changes made any sense other than Gittins and Esteval coming on. Otherwise, no changes made any sense at all. So what are people trying to say here? What are people trying to say here? Bro, this is a news flash for you, brother. The manager is not the biggest problem. The manager is not the biggest problem. The manager is part of the problem. The manager is doing things that are problematic, but he is not the biggest problem. People that think if the manager goes, we suddenly improve are very much mistaken. Very much mistaken. Very much mistaken, because this squad is capped with the quality that is in it, the way that it's been put together. It's capped. No one's coming in and doing a better job. People are acting like someone's going to come in and Chelsea are suddenly going to be title contenders with a different manager with the same squad. It's bollocks. It's just nonsense. How can you go from the high of beating Liverpool to losing to a team that was in League One 3 years ago? Yep, it's the welcome to Chelsea. I don't understand how Josh being subbed is the reason we lost. Sunderland scored in the first half. Well, look, that was part of the reason because of what happened with the winning goal. But ultimately, we lost because we defended two situations terribly and we were awful in attack. We created no chances. So, but we still did enough to probably draw that game if we could defend properly. So that's a game that we shouldn't have lost, but it's a game that we absolutely did not deserve to win. And that's the most concerning thing. We didn't deserve to win that game. And that's a major problem. And there will be 3, 4, 5 of these performances per season. And that's the scary thing, chap. That's the scary thing. Do you know what? But what we do need to talk about now, chat, is the Joao Pedro situation. Because, by the way, this is not me saying he's shit. Before we get into it, I want to preface this by saying I do not think Joao Pedro is a shit football player. However, what needs to be said, chat, is that he has fallen off a cliff. I don't know what's happened to him. I don't know what's happened to him. I stumbled across this stat. Joao Pedro has had 11 shots in 9 Premier League games. 11 shots in 9 games. He's in awful form. Absolutely awful form. Maresca said after the game, he's not fit. He's not training every day. So why do you keep playing him? If he's not fully fit and he's not able to train every day because he's managing an injury issue, why do you continue to play him? In the 9, poor. In the 10, poor. Passenger in games. Anonymous. Surely we've not signed a player who can only play when Cole Palmer's on the pitch. That can't be. That can't be it. That cannot be it. Surely we've not signed a player who can only be effective when Cole Palmer's on the pitch. Yes, Liam Delap's return will absolutely help him to a certain extent. Yes, it will help him to a certain extent. But I said it at the time, and this is my point, right? This is my point. You need to use the squad. You might not like the options that you've got available to you, but surely someone fully fit is better than someone who's been asked for the last few games. Surely it's better than someone that's been asked for the last few games. I get it. You probably didn't want Buonanotte. You didn't want that player. Sure. I don't think he's particularly good. But how is he not even in the squad? How is he not even making the squad? And this is where Maresca's got to do better. This is where he's got to do better, because he's playing players who clearly aren't fit and who are clearly struggling, and he's leaving others out of the squad who could be an option. But I remember saying it at the time, and I stand by it. Nicholas Jackson is a better number 9 than Joao Pedro. And people were trying to gaslight me into thinking that wasn't true. Jackson is a much better number 9 than Joao Pedro. I don't care what anyone says, because people were gaslighting me in the summer and they were getting gassed up by the Club World Cup. Well, obviously he did very well, but Nicholas Jackson is a better number 9 than Joao Pedro. Joao got his opportunity in the 10 yesterday, and it was horrific. Body language was shocking. There's a good player there, but he's fast turning into a highlights reel player who has a few good touches here and there in and around the box and does nothing. There's absolutely a good player in there, no doubt about it. And I do like him. And it wasn't just him, by the way, that was poor yesterday. But the bare minimum is you have to turn up with the right attitude and application. And he's not doing that. You know, he's not doing that. Overall body language is looking awful. You know, if he wasn't on the floor, you know, he was throwing himself in, trying to win cheap fouls. He's got to do better. He's not a 9. He's not a 9. And I feel let down by him because he's not putting 100% in. You know, you get sent off against Benfica, and then you return, and you put in a performance like that with body language like that. It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking. I don't care what anyone says. It's inexcusable and not good enough, chat. Inexcusable and not good enough. Jackson would be a much better option at striker. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anyone says. But how have we signed someone that can only play when certain players are on the pitch? So why do you keep playing him then? Why do you keep playing him? He's been poor for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it needs calling out. It needs calling out that his level of performance has been awful. Does that mean he's a shit player? No, it doesn't. But we need to stop babying players. We need to stop babying players. We need to stop babying players, chat. Don't play him then if he's not fully fit. Use someone who is fully fit. You could have played Buonanotte yesterday. You could have put Enzo Fernandez in the 10 and played Lavia alongside Caicedo. You could have played Andre Santos in the 10. You could have started Esteval and played him centrally. There were many different solutions, but you didn't do any of them. And then you get a performance like that from Pedro. I'm sorry. Pedro needs to step up, and he needs to fix up, and he needs to fix up fast. Because he set a standard for himself in the Club World Cup. My expectations of him went up. And he's not reaching those standards. He's simply not reaching those standards. And that is a problem. That is a problem. It's really poor. You know, I just hope that Joao Pedro has not got us, you know, introduced us to something that he hasn't got the ability to maintain. You know, the expectations have gone up given the start that he made. But right now, he's nothing short of pathetic right now. And he needs to snap out of it. And he needs to snap out of it fast. Because right now, the pressure for Delap to stay fit and contribute from the moment he comes back is massive. Straight away, there's pressure on Delap to perform from the moment he steps back on the pitch. Because others have not been stepping up whatsoever. Garnacho and Gittins. Arse. Shocking. Not good enough. Neto. He works hard. He produces a bit of end product here and there. But again, another player who isn't consistent enough and doesn't produce enough game-winning moments. We're relying on an 18-year-old Esteval to produce game-winning moments for us. It's that simple. And with the money that we've spent, it is alarming that we find ourselves in that position. Absolutely alarming. And I don't know what we do about it. I don't know what we do about it. I really don't know what we do about it. stop playing these players. If he's not fit and he can't train every day, stop playing him because he's a net negative on the team in his current state. So stop playing him. Because right now, Pedro is a negative on this team. A negative on this team. No, he's not. Palmer won't be back maybe until Barcelona or Arsenal potentially. That's what we're maybe looking at. Barcelona or Arsenal end of November. So we have still got quite a while until he returns, which is problematic. Yeah, it is. It's not good enough. It did yesterday. It absolutely did. And if he's injured, stop playing him. It's really that simple. Because right now it's completely useless. So take him out of the team, let him recover, and bring him back when he's 100%. That's what we need to do. So annoying. We just lose the exact same type of game all the time. No, they're not. He's already said it. It's Caicedo, Enzo, and Joao Pedro are the three that can't train every day, and because they're managing injury issues. Yet all three continue to play every single game. They continue to play every single game. So this is where the manager has to take some level of responsibility. The manager's got to take a level of responsibility here. He has to. Because he needs to use the squad and he needs to make better decisions. Has to make better decisions. Has to. But you look at where we're at now. And look, can we win a domestic cup this season? Absolutely we can. Because it doesn't require major levels of consistency. It doesn't require it. It doesn't require it whatsoever. We consistently struggle against teams using a low block play on the counter. Who have we played this season? Teams that, like Sunderland, are well organised. Palace, Brentford, Brighton. So from Crystal Palace, Brentford, Brighton, and Sunderland, 3 of those games at home, we have picked up 2 points. 2 points out of 12. 2 points out of 12, by the way. 2 points out of 12 against Palace, Brighton, Sunderland, and Brentford. That's awful. That is absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking. Yeah, and we were awful against Lincoln as well. What for? What for? I didn't see. I didn't see any of that. What was that for? No, we're not. We're absolutely not the only team that faces this situation. And loads of teams face this situation. So why is it that through multiple managers, different ownerships, different squads, different players, why can we still not do it? Why can we still not do it? Why does he still not do it? Why? I can see this season being a repeat of last season, but in reverse, meaning that our good form or run will be in the second half after Christmas. Potentially, but I think maybe that's the season was potentially always going to be like that, given the Club World Cup and a disrupted summer. However, the tiredness is only going to get worse in the second half of the season. You know, if we're already struggling with fatigue and fitness in the first few games of the season, imagine what it's going to be like when we get deeper into the season. And it's not going to be good, is it? It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. Guys, keep smashing the like button as well. We're on 59 likes. We're still over 100 in the building. Get these likes up, chat. Get them up. We're only on 59. This needs to be heading towards 100 likes ASAP. So please do smash the like button and subscribe if you are new around here as well. But get these likes up, chat. It does really help me out and it boosts us in the algorithm. Bro, he's not going to be sacked if we lose against Spurs. He won't be sacked if we lose against Spurs. This is what people need to realise, right? Is that with a better manager, we're not going to, with another manager, we're not going to do any better with this team and with the quality we've got because we're capped. We're capped by the way that we've recruited. It's that simple. We're capped by the way that we've recruited. You know, I don't get how anyone can deny that. Spurs going to beat us easily. That defense and mid attackers. Spurs have been shit as well. Spurs have been really poor this season as well. But look, it's Tottenham. It's a derby. We've got a very good record there. We normally raise our game in the bigger games. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that. Out of the two games that we've got coming up next week, I'm actually more concerned about the Wolves game and the Carabao on Wednesday. I'm more concerned about Wolves and the Carabao on Wednesday than I am about Spurs away on the weekend. That's the situation. But that Wolves and the Carabao now has become an absolutely massive game because if you lose against Wolves and the Carabao and you're going into Tottenham on the back of defeats to Sunderland and Wolves, that's majorly concerning. Majorly concerning. Majorly concerning, chat. We should beat Wolves, but he'll make a load of changes again. And with all these constant chopping and changing, with the amount of changes we are making, it is making things. It's making things very difficult. It really is. Xavi Simons will score against us. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying we're going to lose, but Xavi Simons will absolutely score against us. He will definitely score against us. No doubt about it in my mind. Yeah, of course they are. Of course they are. You know, this is really not difficult. This is really not difficult to understand. Really not difficult to understand. You know, is it any surprise whatsoever that some of our biggest problem this season is centre backs? Oh. It's not good, boys. It's not good. Bro, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Again, that's not true because before this weekend, we were the second top scorers in the league without Palmer. So that what you just said there is factually incorrect. But I've already said that he's got to improve and he's making mistakes. But he is capped by what he's got. He's capped by what he's got at his disposal. You know, that is what people need to realize. He's capped by what is at his disposal. You know, yes, he's made mistakes that he needs to improve upon ASAP. He has made big mistakes, and that's got to change. That's got to change. Big mistakes have been made. Big mistakes have been made, which is not good enough. No, Sunderland aren't the second best team in the league. Of course they're not, but they've had a brilliant start to the season. They deserve to be where they are. Bro, Maresca is under pressure. Of course he's under pressure. You know, every Chelsea manager is under pressure. The centre-backs are not good enough. But how many times can we keep saying the centre-backs aren't good enough? There's nothing we can do about it right now. But what we can do is not play the ones who are stinking out the gaff every week. And that's Tosin and Chalobah. Don't play them. Don't play Tosin. Don't play Tosin at all. The partnership should be Fofana and Achimpong, and that's what we should be going with. Simple as that. Go with Fofana and Achimpong. Play that partnership, get some continuity and get some understanding between those players. Because right now, everyone else is looking pure arse. Guiu was shocking. He was absolutely awful. And I know Sunderland made it difficult. I mean, didn't play down the middle at all and everything went wide. Guiu had 10 touches when he was on the pitch. Do you know what Guiu is, right? He is basically the striking version of Conor Gallagher. He runs about, he presses, he's energetic, but he doesn't do anything. That is Mark Guiu. And his lack of experience was exposed big time on his first Premier League start. He had 10 touches. 10 touches he had in the game. Did nothing. Did absolutely nothing. And we had Chelsea fans who were hyping him up. Yeah, he deserved to start this game. I had no issues with that, and I called for him to start. But this is not the answer, guys. This is nowhere near the answer. Nowhere near the answer. Yeah, look, I've said many times, the allocation of funds has been shocking. The allocation of funds has been absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. Yeah, Caicedo was off it yesterday, but the Sunderland midfield and Granit Xhaka did did a job on him. Did a job on him. Yeah, but he always scores. He might have 10 touches in a game, but 2 of those touches will be a goal. Look, if we're at a point where we're trying to argue about Mark Guiu for Chelsea, then we're in big trouble. The guy's not good enough. He's here to serve a purpose for now, and he'll be sold and moved on in the summer or maybe maybe January. Mark Guiu's not the answer. He's not the answer at all. He's not ready, obviously, and that's not his fault. But the guy just simply isn't that good. And that's not an outrageous thing to say. He simply isn't that good. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. I would agree. Not good enough to be starting on a weekly basis. Yeah, but he also did nothing. He also did nothing. Him and Pedro did nothing. If you're not involved in the game, if you're not getting the ball, if you're isolated, do something. Try and get involved in the game. Do something different. Drop deeper to try and get on the ball. Don't just stand there and do nothing. Guy was shit yesterday and isn't very good. But we're so desperate now because we recruited so badly, and one injury to the lap basically finished us in terms of the striking situation. Delap coming back can't happen soon enough, but he's going to take time to get back in. You know, it's not good enough. And we could be, if results go a certain way today, we could be bottom half of the table at the end of the weekend. We could be bottom half of the table. We should have got Mark Gurhey in the summer. We should have got him. January, I don't know who we're going to go for. I don't even think we'll sign anyone in January. Yeah, of course they were. Yeah, they absolutely were. Oh, yeah, 100% he will. Delap's not played for what? Nearly 2 months. Delap's not played for almost 2 months. He's going to need time. You know, he's going to need time as well. But the fact that, you know, recruitment-wise, we're relying on an 18-year-old kid to save the day in Esteban. He's essentially become the go-to guy. How has that happened? No, there is pressure on Delap because we need him to perform from the moment he steps back, because Guiu and Pedro aren't doing the business. So there is a pressure on him to perform. There's absolutely a pressure on him to perform. There's absolutely a pressure on him to perform. Well, let's go through this. Robert Lewandowski, they've got top class striker. Rafinha, they've got top class wide player. Marcus Rashford, they've got top quality wide player. Frankie de Jong in midfield, top quality. Jules Koundé in defence, top quality. Let's not do this, brother. Yes, they've got a load of talented youngsters, but they have got top quality professionals in their team. They have got top quality professionals in their team. So let's not try and run this Barcelona are winning with kids gimmick, because they're not just winning with kids. They've got top quality players littered throughout their team. I've literally just named 4 or 5 there. So that argument's just literally been completely debunked straight away. If he's fit, yes, but you know, I don't know what sort of a state he's going to be in. If he doesn't play against Wolves, I don't think you can just throw him straight in to start against Tottenham. I don't think you can do that. I really don't. Yeah, I do rate those players. Yes, I do rate those players, but the rest of the players aren't good enough. And also, they're not playing in the Premier League either. Put this Barcelona team in the Premier League and see if they play as well, because the Premier League's totally different. The Premier League's totally different, you know, than than La Liga. It really is. Premier League, very, very different to La Liga, guys. Very, very different. By the way, chat, keep smashing the likes. We're 73 likes. Run it up, run it up. Let's get this up to 100 likes, people. It's free. And it really helps me out. Yeah, they absolutely do. And the lap 100% needs to be eased back in. He needs to be eased back in. I've got absolutely no idea. I mean, I don't know. That's an impossible question to answer. We didn't create any chances. So, no, probably not. We probably would have lost because we can't defend and we created 0 chances. So, having Mbeumo and Cunha, I think would have made very, very little difference. Would have made very little difference at all. At the end of the day, we knew how this would go. Without experience, a decent keeper and some experience quality at the back, it was always going to be half-baked. Well, that's what it is. It is half-baked. There's no denying that. It's absolutely half-baked. Yes, big up. Hope you're well. I thought after the first goal it would get silly. Yeah, no, as did I. I thought we'd win 3 or 4-0 or 3 or 4-1. I was shocked to see the same tactics for 90 minutes. We overloaded the centre and forced you wide and you looked lost. Yeah, exactly. It's I don't call it a basic tactic, but it's not like rocket science. They overloaded the middle. We couldn't play through the middle. They forced us wide. We were shocking in the wide areas, put awful crosses in, and Sunderland did a job on us, and they fully deserved their win. Why we continue with the same tactic for 90 minutes is beyond me. Absolutely beyond me. It really is. Yeah, manager could do better for sure, but the level of performance on the pitch from the players, was woeful. It was absolutely woeful. I just really don't get it. Yesterday was so bad. It was so bad, chat. You know, I don't think people realise how bad it was. I don't think people realise how bad it was. Bro, who should have started yesterday that didn't start? Esteval, that's it. Esteval, that's it. So we can't blame the manager for the lineup because everyone was happy with the lineup. The only change that people would have made was Esteval starting, right? Okay. So the manager is not to blame for the lineup because people wanted that lineup. The players that played did not hit the level that was required. They simply didn't perform to the level required or expected. Bro, Hato and Achimpong was never going to start together. They were never going to start together. Yeah, the defense, Sunderland's defense was decent. It was decent. Yeah, Achimpong's been really good this season. Tosin's just so average, so average. Yeah, Trev was poor. We've already spoken about this. You know, Chalobah shouldn't be playing week in, week out for Chelsea. He should have made the changes at halftime, potentially. Esteval had half an hour, which is enough time to make an impact. Don't get me wrong. It's absolutely enough time to make an impact, but it wasn't enough from him. The subbing off from Josh, I don't know why that happened, and no one asked the question. No one asked the question as to why that happened. So we're not gonna get the answers to it. But it's just a major concern that we keep losing the same type of games, the same types of games. We just keep losing them. Hato, I like Hato. I think he's decent, but he needs time to settle in and time to adjust. And he's not better than Cucurella. That's the reality of the situation. It needs to be Fofana and Josh playing at the back, and then we move from there. It's that Cucurella is not shit going forward. That just simply isn't true. That isn't true. Look at what he did going forward last season. That's just not true. Yeah, look, we will turn it around and we will get points on the board and we'll still get Champions League football. But yeah, it's concerning that the same things are just continuing to go wrong time and time again. That's the most concerning thing. And that's something that has got to change ASAP. It has to change ASAP. No, we absolutely can't. And do you know what wouldn't be a surprise? Is beating Tottenham and then we drop points against Burnley after the next international break. That wouldn't be a surprise because that's the sort of thing that we do. It wouldn't be a surprise if we beat a Man City or if we beat Arsenal when we play them. But then we go and drop points to teams that we should be beating. These things are not a surprise. These things are not a surprise. They wouldn't be a surprise at all, chap, because it's what we do. It's what we do and it's who we are right now. It's what we do and it's who we are right now. And it is really, really frustrating. Really poor. Yeah, chat, run the likes up. Run them up, run them up, run them up. 76 likes. Let's get this to at least 80, 90 likes, chat. Keep smashing that like button. It's free and it takes seconds. So please do run it up. Smash up those likes. Come on, chat. Help me out. Yeah, good idea. Let's go and sell Cuckoo and buy a young, inexperienced player in Barca. That's going to really help us out. I'm worried the Premier League style seems to be changing. Loads of teams are going direct. Yeah, we don't seem to cope with directness very well. That is very true. We don't seem to cope with directness very well. That's a concern. 100% that's a concern. And that is a concern, chat. I mean, what else is going on? Big problems. Big problems for us, chat. Yeah, I don't even think he's that good. He's another defender that's got bozo moments in him. Another defender with bozo moments in him. Another defender with bozo moments in him. So, sure, he's much better than our centre-backs, but it doesn't mean that we should be signing him. look, this table's still very congested and we haven't even played 10 games yet. So look, there's still plenty of time to sort things out, but there are some worrying themes and some worrying patterns which are occurring. And that does need to change. That does need to change. Worrying themes and worrying patterns occurring, which we do need to see differ. We absolutely do. We absolutely need to see something different in that regard, chat. We have to. We absolutely have to see something different. Yeah. Problems, chat. Problems. And I just don't see how any of this changes, though. I don't see how we suddenly are going to make things better. I don't see how we're suddenly going to make things better against low blocks. How does that suddenly occur? How do we suddenly solve that problem? I just don't see that changing anytime soon. I just don't see that changing anytime soon. I really don't. Mark Gurhey in January makes us better. Instantly makes us better. I don't know why we didn't go for him in the summer. Because we're an absolute joke defensively, and any ball that's launched into the box, we really struggle to deal with. That's just not true, is it? That just simply isn't true. So yeah, that's where we're at, chat. That's where we're at. Gurhey walks straight into this team and is instantly the best centre-back at the club. Instantly the best centre-back at the club. That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. Josh is getting game time. Josh is getting game time and Josh is playing. And that needs to continue to happen. Yeah, it does, absolutely. I know that 100%. I already know there's going to be more results like this throughout the season. We all know this. We all know this. There's going to be results like this every season, and similar games like this every season. It's just the way it goes, unfortunately. It is just the way that it's going for us right now. And yeah, I'm just concerned by the fact that it doesn't look like we've got any idea of how to solve it. No idea whatsoever. Bro, Maresca's shown that he's won 2 trophies in his first year and he's got us back in the Champions League. He's shown that he can win and he's shown that he's a promising young manager. If you're asking me why I rate Maresca because Amorim's ahead of him after 9 matches of a 38-game season, that is a really strange question and doesn't prove anything. Of course he has. Anyone trying to argue that Maresca's not shown potential is just ridiculously agenda-driven. Ridiculously agenda-driven, if that's the case. Bro, we're not getting... People need to stop saying, let's try and get Tony in January. We're not getting Tony in January. It looks like Amorim could be starting to turn them round. And Amorim, and in fairness, United were more serious than us in the transfer window in the summer. They were more serious than us in the transfer window in the summer. They've won 3 games in a row. United are celebrating like they've won 3 leagues in a row. But maybe it does look like they're getting slightly better. They are getting slightly better, but there's a long way to go still. A long way to go. There really is. There really is, chat. We are. Yeah, no, we are. We are missing that. We are missing that. Of course we are. Look, not guaranteed, but I'd be very surprised if we didn't finish top 4. Look, there's no guarantees in football, and I'm not saying we're guaranteed it. I do think we'll finish top 4, and I'd be very surprised if we didn't. I think something would have to go seriously wrong for us not to finish top 4. Something would have to go very, very wrong. Very, very wrong for that to be the case. Cole's not going on loan. What are we talking about here? What are we doing here? Let's have a quick look if there's anything else happening. Doesn't look like it. Chat, we're going to round this one out here. Big up to everyone that has locked in. We're going to go and enjoy the Sunday afternoon football. Big up to everyone that's locked in. Big up to everyone for all the support. As always, guys, please smash the like button on the way out. Please subscribe if you're new around here. It would really help me out. If you've not checked out yesterday's match reaction, go and watch that video. Show it some love. I'd really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'll be back tomorrow with more content. A big week for the Chelsea, but enjoy the rest of your Sunday, guys. Hopefully things can get better from here, and we're celebrating next week with 2 big W's to make ourselves feel better. But yeah, guys, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Smash the like, subscribe if you're new. Appreciate your support as always. Up the Chelsea, and we're out. Love.